Now, some people seem to be annoyed at me saying this, so I'm gonna keep saying it. Hello there, my dearest viewers, and welcome to haQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host, and you're watching a haQ episode. And in this episode, I am gonna be answering the question which one you should get, Koala Sampler or Sitala. But after I've answered that question, I am gonna be diving a little bit more into Sitala because it's completely new. It dropped just a few weeks ago. And there are two main things I really want to highlight for you. Now, when it comes to sampling on iOS and beat making, Koala Sampler has pretty much taken the spot as the sampler people go for. And I get that because I love Koala Sampler too. It is a real workhorse. And so whenever a new sampler comes out, everyone asks, what does it do better than Koala Sampler and which one should I go for? Let me clarify it for you right now. If you are a beat maker and you're looking for a workstation, something where you can produce music on, a workflow like with an SP404 or a Pocket Operator PO33 or maybe an MPC, then Koala Sampler is the one you want to go for. It has its own sequencer, it's got live effects so you can perform with it, it's got everything you need as a beat maker to start making music. Now Sitala, on the other hand, whose name I probably butchered because I'm Swedish, this one was not designed for that type of work. You see, it's not actually a sampler. It cannot sample. You cannot record audio with it. You can load samples, manipulate samples, and play back samples. It was designed primarily to be loaded as a plugin inside DAWs. And so if you are one of those producers who are working mainly with multi-tracking DAWs such as Cubase's or GarageBand or many others, and you're looking for a sample player with multi-output that is quick and easy to use, then Sitala was designed for you. And if there's anything to really highlight in this app, it is the way that Sitala handles sample browsing. And I'm going to show you that right now. Now, we've had a problem on iOS for a long time, and that is that whenever we load a sample, we usually get that sample being duplicated. But that's not how Sitala handles it. It just links to folders and samples. And so, if we wanted to load a sample, we just select the pad. Next, we go to Sample, and then Browse Samples. Now, this takes us to the Files app. You see, we're going to press Add Location. Well, I've got samples on my iPad, and I'm going to go down to my Samples folder, which is right here. Now, I'm just going to choose the Addern Kick Me Drums and press Clear. And this links the Addern Kick Me Drums folder right inside the system here. And if there are any underlying folders, I can show you by pressing here, it will link to those too. You don't have to select them. You just point to the top folder, and it will link all of them. So if we go into Addern Kick Me Drums and we choose one, it will demo it for you and load it. And it didn't duplicate anything. It's using that exact file. Now, I want you to take a closer look here. You can see some dots here. And this is telling you that there are more samples within this folder. How do you select them? By swiping. And when you reach the end of a folder, you can actually set it up by going up here to the menu and going to sample browsing and make it continue into the next or previous folder. So you can just sit and swipe all day, left or right, and just preview samples and select samples like that. No need to enter another menu system like we have to do in every other app out there that allows you to load samples. I just wish that every app did it like this. At least apps that load samples, I mean. It's amazing and it just feels so good. Now, there is an issue here with not being able to access any files in AudioShare through this system. You see, I asked the developer about that, and he's been talking to Jonathan Liljedahl, who is the developer of AudioShare, and it seems that AudioShare is not upgraded to utilize the new file browser structure that Apple has introduced in iOS. Apple is trying to create a more pro-like browser experience for file management and file browsing, and AudioShare is not up to those specs yet. And so yeah, Jonathan already knows about this, and he pretty much has to update AudioShare, and I have no idea when that's gonna happen. So until then, if you want to use Sitala and its awesome file browser, then you pretty much have to move your samples over or duplicate and copy them over into the Files app and into one of the two folders, either on my iPad or the cloud one, and you're good to go. Now, there's one more thing I really want to highlight in Sitala here. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but I'm Swedish. And that is how this window shows you exactly what's happening with the sample when you're manipulating it. So the shape knob here, it actually messes with the attaQ time and decay time and some other things. And it shows you that clearly with the waveform and with this colored box in here. It's so nice. It even does it with the compression and with the tone. And if you look closely, you can see that there's more than just one type of filtering. There's low-pass filtering, high-pass filtering, and there's even a parametric EQ in there moving around and doing stuff. It's quite satisfying working with this. Then you've got tuning. And as you can see, it even shows that. Now, there are many more interesting features inside Sitala that are very useful for beat makers, and one of those things is an auto slicer or auto chopper. This thing basically detects transients and puts markers there for you so that you can then chop up the material and have them placed out on several pads. Koala Sampler has this too, but it is different in Sitala because there are no value adjusters or there's no way to really control the slices. All of this happens automatically. What's nice about this is that when you do stuff like I do sometimes, I sample a lot of drum sounds and I do this long file with a lot of different drums. And then I just want to load that file into something, have that thing just auto-detect all of the transients and then just chop it up for me. And that's exactly what Sitala does. And I don't have to sit there and do any time adjustments or trim values or anything. It's very automatic. It's very accurate too. So in cases like that, I'm absolutely loving it. But I'm not loving it when I'm working with other material in where I want to adjust my slices because there's nothing to adjust. If you're gonna like this or not, it all depends on how you're working. And all I can say is that the auto detection is very accurate. Now, I did have some points of contentions, grammar. And I did bring them up with the developer and they responded to each and every one of them. And one of the things that really annoyed me was something I discovered when I tried to map some of my knobs on my MIDI controller. You see, as the app is right now, if you want to map up all of the knobs inside Sitala, you don't need 6 knobs, you need 96, because it turns out that every time you press a pad, you basically have a set of 6 new knobs you need to map. And so I asked the developer, can you please make a global mode? And they responded and they said that they're actually working on it. That's something I'm looking forward to see in the future. Because I do have a big MIDI controller that I built a few years ago, and it does have a lot of knobs, but yeah, you know, sometimes it's just nice to use 6 knobs instead of 96 knobs, because it's just easier to navigate. I might be covering this app more, Sitala I mean, and I've already covered Koala Sampler, and you can find a playlist to all of my Koala videos popping out in the upper right corner and also linked in a pinned comment in the comment section and also of course in the description. If you like the work I do here on YouTube, support me by pressing that thumbs up. Now, if you want to support me in a financial way, check out my music first. If you don't want to do that, Patreon or PayPal. And if you don't want to do any of it, that's okay too. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. We've been growing potatoes on our balcony, and I mean, the plants are coming along nicely. It's gonna be so good when they're done. Fresh potatoes, small little fresh potatoes. We're gonna make like a vegan potato salad. I'm looking forward to it. Oh yeah, baby, it's gonna be so sweet. Oh yeah, yeah.